going to welcome in Nigel Burton, of course, Pac-12 Network analyst, Coach N. Burton on Twitter. And, Coach, the haters may disagree, but the Pac-12, it's the best conference in football. Let's start there with what a great start to the season for this conference.
No doubt. What haters would disagree? I mean, are they people who watch college football, or do they just hear about it reading the Wall Street Journal?
I think they're in the SEC. They're in the South, Coach. They're in the South.
I got you. Well, Vanderbilt has become a power right here these days. But, ultimately, look, I don't care how many years you go back. The Pac-12 has always been the most competitive conference, and I will stand on that mountaintop and I will die on that hill whenever you want in terms of the most competitive conference week after week, whether you want to call it level playing field or whatever, which is why we've had such a problem putting teams in the CFP, because we haven't had one or two dominant teams and everybody else was average. We've had a lot of good teams. And if I'm being fair, maybe we didn't have a powerhouse great team, but we had so many good teams that we knocked each other off. And so now what people are seeing is what happens when, that parity continues to up their game, and now on a national level are kind of putting it on people in other conferences. And so hopefully, that rides to the rest of the season as we continue to do what we normally do, which is knock each other off. The committee keeps in mind, what happened when Washington played Michigan State and Florida played Utah, and go down the list of Pac-12 wins this year.
Coach, taking away Caleb Williams, because I think he's the best player in college football, and many would agree. I don't know where you come out on him, but tell me each quarterback in this league that you look at in the top 3 or 4, what you like about them. Penix, DJ Uiagalelei, Bo Nix, and Cam Rising.
Are those the top 3 or 4?
I don't know. You know what? You could throw in Cam
league.
Ward. You could throw in Cam Ward. I'm going to tell you the guy who's going to be there next year is Dante Moore. Oh, God, that kid's a dude.
Yeah, and I still disagree with you. I'm putting Shedeur Sanders in the top 4. I don't know.
I'm going to be honest with you. Hold on. In my defense, I already moved them to the Big 12. My apologies. I don't disagree with you. I really did. I'm not even kidding you.
All right. Okay. All right. Jokes aside. Look, I mean, ultimately, seriously, I mean, I think right now you got, obviously you got Caleb, you have Michael Penix, you have, I honestly, if I had to choose a third guy, I think I might have to go with Shedeur. I mean, you're talking about a guy who not just does he have all the physical attributes, and now Mel Kiper's talking about first round and all this other stuff, but, 98 yards, game on the line, final drive, and he gets it done. I mean, without his best weapon. I mean, it's just, the stuff that he's doing is pretty insane. I mean, Penix's accuracy, his ability to, pinpoint a throw, and his arm strength is crazy, just deceptive. I mean, I was there in Eugene when he threw that sideline, opposite hash, 30-yard on a strike, hole shot versus cover. It wasn't even cover 2. Fellas, it was a 3 deep, 5 underneath. It was old cover 8. Throw, which is just insanity that you would even try that throw. Completes it on the sideline for the win. So, I mean, those are the things that impress me about him. I mean, Caleb is a magician. And, in terms of the fourth guy, I think the thing that I love about, both Bo Nix is Bo Nix plays the quarterback position like a quarterback. I think he might be the guy who sneakily might have the best kind of NFL I don't know if I'd say NFL upside. I don't know in terms of his arm strength is the same as some of the other guys we talked about, but he walks up to the line. He's able to diagnose the coverage, the play, get guys in and out of things, and he doesn't spend a lot of time improvising. He knows where to go with the football and then moves on. And, at the next level, that's what you have to do because, you're not out athleting anybody unless, you're Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes or one of those guys. So, that's the thing that's most impressive about Bo.
Coach Burton, Nigel Burton, Pac-12 Network analyst. Let's talk about Bo and Shedeur and Eugene this weekend. What a job by Dion. It's been so exciting for college football. The question, though, Coach, can they hang against the Ducks?
Oh, no question they can hang. Now, the question is going to be, I honestly think they're going to score points. I think the Ducks have a really solid defense. I think with Shedeur and that offensive staff, and their playmakers, whether you're talking Horn or go down the list of different guys that they have, They are so much more athletic than we've seen a Colorado team be in the last decade. And their offensive line does a really nice job protecting. They're able to run the ball with enough efficiency to keep you honest. And so, I think they're going to put some points on. I think the biggest issue for them, and I think Deion would even admit, is defensively. And what Bo and the Oregon offense has been able to do. I mean, I was there against Portland State when they hung 81 on my former the team that I used to be the head coach of. I've watched week in and week out, and sometimes it looks like routes on air. Like it doesn't even look like there's a defense out there with the timing, whether it's the routes, the blocking schemes. You don't confuse them with anything that you bring. And so I think that's going to be the major issue for Colorado. I mean, they're going to have to pull a magic trick out of their hat that we haven't seen all season for them to be able to slow down the Oregon offense. And that's, I think, going to be the issue for Colorado.
Coach, I wanted to ask you about another game, but I want to follow up to your point on Oregon. Is this pass defense improved enough from your perspective compared to how horrible they were last year to compete with Washington, USC, Colorado when they're throwing the ball with Shedeur and some of these other teams?
Yeah, because ultimately, they turn that entire secondary over. I mean, they have 3-4 new starters, even though the guys who started last season returned. And so they obviously upgraded their talent level and their depth, playmaking ability. And then I think when you look at them up front, with Dorless and those guys, I think they've become even more dominant than they were. And every DB's best friend is a great D lineman. And so do they have what they need to compete? Absolutely. Is it going to be a tough task? When you look at what Washington's doing in particular in the air every week in and week out, yeah, I mean, it's sick. I'm glad I'm not coaching the secondary against them anymore like I used to back at Oregon State. And so, they have enough to slow them down. Do they have enough to stop them? Well, we'll find out in a couple of weeks.
Speaking of Oregon State, Coach, let's talk about them. Top 25 matchup, Pullman, Oregon State at Washington State. What do you got there?
Man, I wish I could tell you, fellas. I mean, look, you're talking to an old Husky as I played at UW and I coached at Oregon State, so I've got so much love. And there's supposed to be some built-in hatred for the Cougs, but I'm not gonna lie, I love the Cougs, man. I've always felt like I was more of a blue-collar guy than a five-star, the kind of guys who go to the Washingtons and SCs. I just lucked out a particular year where I guess they felt bad and they needed a guys under 5'10", so maybe that's why they recruited me. But I think in the end, Wazoo's kind of obviously had Oregon State's number over the last couple of years, and you look at Oregon State is built similarly to Wisconsin, just years ahead in terms of their pass game, but they want to run the ball first. Set up their play-action pass game. They have a 4x1 track team at receiver with Anthony Gould and Silas Bolden and go down those guys. I just think Wazoo, when it's all said and done, they're going to load the box and say, DJ beat us, and they've got some, really good DBs. And then, you guys already mentioned Cam Ward. I think the Oregon State defense can do a nice job versus the Washington State offense. So I'm at an utter loss, man, on how this thing goes down. If this is in Corvallis, I think hands down Beavers win. Cougs keep it close, but Beavs take care of it. Being in Wazoo and knowing how the Cougs play in the Palouse, I might give them a 1 or 2 point edge, but I think this is going to come down to the last drive, and I think it's going to be a fantastic game.
I would agree with you there, Coach. About 30 seconds remaining. Utah hosting UCLA. Can the Bruins, who are a 6-point dog here, compete in this one, being young compared to what Utah's experience is?
Yes, and that's my upset special, man. I think that Utah at home, everybody's kind of like, yeah, they don't, but the issue is schematically what Chip does to defenses, and knowing that Kyle. He wants to play man-free no matter what. Like, he just does not want to go to quarters, cover two, anything else. And what Chip's offense does is they will formation you to death. You will see formations sometimes you've never even seen before. There'll be 4 tight ends on the field, all kinds of things. Then you add in the read zone, play-action pass. Now you got Dante Moore who could throw the ball deep. I think it's going to be a problem, and I would have Utah on upset alert for sure.
I could listen to you talk ball all day, Coach. Nigel Burton, Pac-12 Network. Enjoy the weekend. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
Absolutely. Anytime, fellas.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.